Hi, folks. Dan Bird here with the Daily Scan for Monday, November the 10th. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Looks like I'll show you the chart, but when we talked last on Friday, it was halfway through the day and the market was going down. Recovered nicely. In fact, came back up and narrowly avoided getting a sell signal. So we did not get the sell signal. We'll look at that in a minute as well. I am not a financial advisor, so this is for educational purposes only, of course. Let's take a look and see what's going on today. It's right now it's 12:45 p.m. on the East Coast. So a little bit later than I usually do this, but that's okay. I had things to do today. So let's take a look at the aggressive sectors first. I did update this today. It's the beginning of the week. You can see last week everything was just selling off until halfway through the day on Friday. This is right about the bottom is where I did my video on Friday. And then from there, the market started to move higher and continue to go up. Big gap up today with the news that the shutdown might be close to ending. I think that's a news item that usually is has a temporary effect on the market. Market gapped higher, sold off initially, but now it's starting to move back up again. So it looks like it's recovering. Very nice recovery. Technology is back in the move higher. Discretionary is flat and communications is down. But this technology is the one that really carries the market. 35% of the S&P is made up of this particular sector. So it's the largest sector in the market, and that's the one that needs to move the market higher. Notice money flow, though, after having a really nice run on Friday and really from the beginning of today, Monday, it just started to move lower. So money flow right now, in fact, the money flow index is below the zero line. So that implies that money is flowing out even as the price is going up. So we need to keep an eye on that, watch that. Let's see what the defensive sectors are doing. They are moving lower. So last week on Friday, defense was going higher while technology was going lower. So rotation was out of technology and into defensive. Today, it's the opposite. Rotation is back out of defensive. You can see they're all lower and into technology. And on the cyclicals look the same on Friday, but they also sold off today. So they're heading lower other than materials. So that implies gold is starting to move back up. Energy looks okay as well today. But the rotation looks like it's back to technology. We'll see if that can continue. So here's the rotation chart, growth versus value. Growth is up. Discretionary versus staples is up. Technology is up. Semiconductors are up. So all of that is positive for the market. The market is moving higher, and that may continue. Here's breadth, which was looking really negative on Friday, still is below zero. For a percentage of stocks above their 20-day and 50-day, it's still below zero. The 50 is 45%. This is for the S&P. And above the 20 is 47%. So still below 50, which is not positive. So breadth still is weak, even as the market moves higher. On the Russell 2000, same thing, gap higher, pull back, starting to move up now. Compared with, so this shows you which one is outperforming. So in the morning, the S&P was outperforming the Russell. And then starting right here at about 10:30, that reversed. And the Russell 2000 started to outperform the S&P. That's true of the mid caps, and small caps in particular were the strongest today. So small caps looks like it might be the place to be right now. And the breadth, same thing. Percentage, this is for mid caps, sitting right at the zero line. The 50 is below the, not zero, but the 50% line. Percent above the 50-day is below the 50% line. And the 200 is slightly above it. So I'd say, and this is small caps, it looks the same. I'd say the jury is still out on these. Not a significant rebound yet, but it is moving higher. So I have to give it that. By the way, also on small caps, it's above the 21. Small caps and mid caps both above the 21 now today after going below it for the last week. And the NASDAQ 100, same thing, gap up, pull back a little bit, starting to move back higher right now. It is actually in a squeeze on a 10-minute. This is a 10-minute chart. So it's starting to squeeze right here. These are the Bollinger Bands. So you can see how they're squeezing together right now. The advancers minus decliners looks good. And volume is starting to look good as well. And notice the VIX is just really falling off a cliff right now. So the VIX is at 1777. It's still above 17, but it's heading back down there, heading back towards 17. So I'm actually going to look at the VIX next, just see if it has any clues for us. You can see the VIX right here. Green bars 4 days last week, headed higher, tried to get it above 20, but actually ended up, it actually did go above 20 a few times, but closed below it. So it couldn't stay up there. So that downtrend could not hold. And the buy the dippers bulls came back in the end of the day Friday and certainly today and moving higher for sure. So the VIX is still above 17. It's right in this neutral zone right now, but heading lower. So that's very positive. 10-day moving average of the put call ratio is still going up, and the 10-year is just moving sideways right now. So this implies that we're basically sitting right on the edge of being bullish or bearish, but in general, it's bullish right now. And still moving down, so it's at the lows right now for today. It's 12:53 in the afternoon so far. All right, let's go back over here, and I want to look at rotation. Take a look at the rotation chart for a second. And you can see this is discretionary versus staples. It actually looks okay. Still moving higher. This is equal weight discretionary versus equal weight staples. It's okay. It's not back to the highs, but it's still okay. Growth versus value is still heading higher. Transports are continuing lower, and cap weighted versus equal weighted on the S&P. Cap weighted is really what's been carrying the market. So all of these still look positive. So there isn't a heavy rotation, even though there was rotation on Friday into defensive sectors. It's not a clear heavy rotation. So I think in general, the market is still okay, still probably going to be moving up. Let's look at the dashboard real quick. You can see the S&P higher, the Dow's higher, the NASDAQ 100, everything's higher. The VIX is down for today. 10-year bonds are up slightly. Gold is starting to move back higher again. Here's the, on the daily, it's back above the 21. So everything in momentum is starting to curl up. So looks like gold is back on its bullish run once again. Even the weekly chart right here shows gold looks like it bottomed right here, starting to head back higher today. So that's what it looks like. So gold again might be the place to be. And then crypto, of course, Bitcoin moving up 1,000 back up to 105. This one was in danger right here. Actually, let me do this on a daily chart. Look at this more closely. You can see these came down right here, 3 in a row, right exactly at about 99,000, just below 100, 3 times in a row. It sold off to right at the 100,000 level, and that's where the buyers are. So buyers have come back in. Buyers are continuing to push it up. Still needs to get above the 21, the 200, and the 50, but momentum is moving higher, and there is a little bit of a bullish divergence as the price goes lower. You can see these two are moving higher, even though the actual lines are lower here, but there is a slight bullish divergence. You're not seeing it though here on the RSI. So the RSI is where I really would love to see it more. So right now, I'd say the jury is still out on Bitcoin, but it is trying to move higher along with the rest of the market. All right, let's go back to the dashboard again. And notice over here, communication dropped 1. So earlier when I looked at this, all 3 of the aggressive sectors were at the top. Technology, discretionary, and communications. Communications dropped down one. Materials now is up. That's where gold is. So you would kind of expect to see that. Staples, utilities, and real estate, the three most defensive sectors, are at the bottom. So that's what you want to see in a bullish run. And it looks like that is continuing. Here is over 1 month. These are the best performers in the S&P. You can see Micron. It's one of the best performers. Eli Lilly is up there in the top 10. The large cap growth is the area that's showing the most strength today. Large cap value is the least strength. Small cap value, though, interestingly, small cap value is actually stronger than growth. So opposite ends of the spectrum right there. And then down here, Nvidia, you see, reports next week on the 19th. And if we look at the top, the momentum watch list right here, open is moving higher. NVTS, which had just been selling off consistently, it's now starting to move back up. It's up 20% almost today, just today. PGY, so this is a software stock. And by the way, now that I see that, it also was on the, let's see, where is my alerts? It's a short squeeze alert today. PGY. So here's PGY. It just did give a short squeeze alert. Notice the volume down here. Nice move higher. Still needs to get above all this resistance before the shorts are really going to start covering. But they might be starting right now. So they just had earnings this morning, it looks like. And it's in a squeeze. Momentum is starting to move higher. So this is a short squeeze alert right there. And in addition to that, it's in the top 10. It's PGY right here. So it's got two things going for it right now. Solar Edge taken off big time today. This one here, Lumentum Holdings, just continues to move higher. And for those that are subscribers, if we go back to the, this is on the charts page. I update this every week. These are the top 10 lists down here. Anything with an asterisk is brand new to the list. Notice light right down here. Lumentum, the one I just showed you, was just came into the top 10 in relative outperformers. It also, because it's highlighted in yellow, it's also the top 10 in the mid-cap performers. So just made it. So it's really worthwhile to take a look at the ones that have asterisks every week. There's Cypher that I've talked about before. Cypher Mining is in two of the lists. Vitex is in two of the lists. So they're starting to move higher. So this is a great list to take a look at. Palantir, by the way, just came back into the top 10 on the IBD 50. And both of those, anything in brown means it's in the third column and also somewhere else. In this case, it's Palantir is in the large caps and Nextracker is in the mid caps, top 10. So these are all the top 10 lists, which I then consolidate and put into a single list right down here. And you can see the number is declining, actually, but this is updated every week, and it's a CSV file, so you can download it into your own platform if you want to. So those are all the ones that have previously made the top 10 lists. So it still could be good stocks. You can see the ones that just dropped out this week, right down here. Qubits, these just dropped out of the top 10 for IBD. So those all look pretty interesting. So again, let's go back to the dashboard. Here's the charts. You can see the S&P continuing to move higher after a big hammer on Friday. Russell 2000 hammer on Friday. It gapped up, pulled back a little bit in the morning, but it's continuing to go up, and Bitcoin is going up. So everything is very bullish right now. In fact, if I look at the market carpet, I'm sure it's going to be lots of green. And there it is, Nvidia moving higher, Apple, Microsoft, all the big names, Google, Meta, all the big names are moving higher. That's what's pushing the market up. Palantir's, AMD, all of these are starting to move up right now. So staples is where the red is. Healthcare to a degree, except for Lilly. And utilities, real estate, and staples, the three most defensive areas, are the ones that are negative or red. So there's Vistra Energy over here. This one is NRG Energy. What's red up here? Walmart down a little bit. Procter and Gamble. So definitely very bullish look on this right now. If we take this back, let's go back 5 days. So you can see how red it was just over a 5-day period. So it's really turned around right now. Everything looks very bullish, continuing to head higher. So that's all good news. All right. I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. You know what? There's a couple of stocks that people have asked about. I keep forgetting to do this, but let me take a look at Enphase first. Somebody asked me about this more than a week ago, probably right when it reported and had a big sell-off. So this does not look like it is recovering yet. It needs to have a change of character. Change of character means a higher high and a higher low. Right now it's just making lower lows and lower highs. So in order for this to really start to prove that it's moving up, of course, if you want to try to catch the bottom, you can certainly play it that way. It's very hard to do that, but if you think it's a good stock that's going to survive, and it was good in back in the day. Let's go back with have to go pretty far back. So this is a weekly chart, and it's just continuing to move down. If you go back to a monthly chart, you can see right through this period right here, all the way up into 2021, even through 2022, which was a bear market, it was moving higher. So anybody that was in it through this period, where it went from like basically $1.50 up to $100 or $200, a lot of times you'll have muscle memory thinking, you know, I had such a great run with this thing. I never expected it to roll over like it has. It continues to go down. I think it's going to go back because I remember when it was way up here. But sometimes they never get back there. They never go back way up there. So you have to kind of divorce yourself of the emotion and just take a look at the data. Look at what the data is telling you. And in this case, it went below zero right here, which is, so this line went below zero. That's July of 23. And the price at that point was $80. And today it's at 31. So that was basically the final warning to get out when it went below its 50-day moving average right here. Gave you this is a monthly too, remember. So if we look at this on a daily, I mean, we'd have to go back pretty far. But let's go back a year. So even a year back here, it was still heading lower. We go back 2 years. Here's 23. Here's where the highs were right here. So it consistently kept going below the 50 and above it, bouncing off the 200, trying to get above the 200 here. This whole period through here, the sideways period, was a consolidation. And it may have gone up or down from there, but when it broke below this level, which is 95, broke below this level right here, which had been support. So it broke below that right in through here, 89.63. This is October of 24. Went down and tried to get back above the 21 right there, but couldn't, and started to go down. So at a minimum, right in here was your final warning, $76, almost 80. Let's call it $80. When it broke below 80 right there, that was the warning to get out. And you can see ever since then, it's just been doing nothing but going up and hitting the 50-day, getting rejected over and over. Try to get above it right here, below it again right now. So will it get above it this time? Who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe you can take a risk and try to jump in right there. But overall, Enphase to me it's still a falling knife. It's not proving that it has changed its character yet. That's just my opinion. The other one that I talked about in the newsletter was Nvidia. And the way I talked about Nvidia is that they have earnings coming up next week, But if you look at this versus, actually, let's do this. Let's look at it with the zigzag view. So here's the zigzag for Nvidia, and you can see there's the trend line. Now it's bouncing off of it right now, so it might be heading back up. It's not definitely outperforming the S&P, but it's underperforming its own peer groups. So let me turn the S&P, one of them, off, this one, and you can see it versus its peers. Let me put a horizontal line in here at 0. Make it pink so you can see it. So there's the 0 line. So it is underperforming. It's down 2.5% versus its peers, which is semiconductors. So Nvidia is definitely underperforming as it heads into earnings. To give you an example, one that's been really strong is Micron. Look at Micron versus its peers. Just clearly outperforming. 93%, almost 95% better than other stocks in the semiconductor group. So this is what a strong semiconductor stock should look like. Nvidia, on the other hand, does not look like that. So is this a warning that maybe they don't even have to miss earnings. They could blow out the earnings and blow out the revenues and then have weak guidance, and they will get punished for that. So, and look at the accumulation distribution down here is now below the moving average line as well. So that means distribution. That means Wall Street is getting out of Nvidia as the price goes higher. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying that's going to happen next week, but keep a watch on that. Notice right here at the top, we got a spinning top and we have a shooting star, both bearish reversal candles. So this really needs to get back up above 210 before it is back in an uptrend again. So we'll see what happens between now. Normally, Nvidia will move higher into earnings. So if it fails to do that, then there definitely is an issue. Just pointing that out for folks that are, I know lots of people are in Nvidia. And if you're in it for the long term, then just stay the course, because even if they do have a hiccup, it'll likely recover. If we look at this on a monthly chart, that's what the long term looks like. So it could conceivably come all the way back here to the 50-day and still maintain its uptrend. Come all the way back here to $80. Right now it's at 196. It could come all the way back to $80 and still be in an uptrend. So just keep that in mind if you're long term. Even a normal pullback would be down here to about 140. It could easily get back to 140 like it has right here, almost did right here. So easily it could get back to 140 to 150 and still be in a very solid uptrend. So we'll see what happens with Nvidia. I think Nvidia is going to be the catalyst for the rest of the market next week. I think today the catalyst was the starting the economy or starting the government back up. We'll see how that works out. The market is still moving higher, so that's good. Here's the S&P. Now it's above the high of the day. So the S&P is continuing to go higher. It looks very bullish still, and hopefully it'll continue like that into the end of the trading day. Right now it is 1:10 p.m. If we go back and take a look at the weekly charts here, the S&P, you'll notice, so I put in the call wall and the put wall, you'll notice the S&P now is above the call wall. So this acts as resistance. So if it breaks through resistance, that's very positive, very bullish. The expected move, this is updated on Friday. So this is still, it changes every day, of course, but I'm not going to change it every day. I'll just do it on Friday. But the expected move is 69.17. So it's headed back towards that level right now. So that's what and notice the RSI never went down here below 40. So that's definition that it's still on an uptrend. You can see the VIX still going lower. So all of these are very positive, other than the momentum is starting to roll over a little bit up here. So momentum is weakening a bit, which you kind of would expect because the price has been going down. So if the price now is heading back up, then we want to see momentum start to head back up as well. We'd like to see a light blue bar rather than a dark blue bar up here. Same thing with the NASDAQ 100. It also has expected move right here. It's sitting right on a pivot point. This is a Fibonacci pivot, sitting right on it right now, just above the 8 EMA. It's above the call wall. So everything looks very bullish still. Again, came down, just touched the 40 level. That is a bullish, maintaining a bullish trend so far. And then finally in here is Bitcoin. For those that want to track Bitcoin, it's continuing to move up, but it needs to get above all of these moving averages to confirm that it's back in an uptrend again. It's still a little questionable right now on Bitcoin. All right, that's it. Let me know if there's anything you want me to look at, any stocks or anything else you would like for me to talk about. Be happy to do that. Hope everyone has a great week. It looks like it's going to be bullish this week, as long as the government continues on track to stay open. Everything else looks great. I think we are still in that uptrend for the end of the year. Still a good chance that we're going to end up above 7,000 on the S&P and higher by the end of the year. So I still have a bullish take on the markets. All right, I'll talk to you later. Let me know if you want to check anything out. I'd be happy to do that. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.